Hey guys,
What's up?
you know our channel, Music One Master 100.
We are as you guys know, we are in the process of the Trading Card Bros. So today we're going to do a really special video for you guys today. Today, as you all know, today's February. It's almost March coming up. The March 1st Banlist is coming right up around the corner. And as you guys know, for those who do not know, every 6 months or so, Konami always updates or rechanges the ban list about about what cards should either be banned, limited, semi-limited, or not on the list at all. So nothing's official on the list yet. Nothing's been officially declared or anything. So just to give you guys our thoughts of what's going on, all we're going to do right there in this video is just talk about what we think should happen to the list at least.
Yeah, the one card we really want to get out of the way first is BLS.
For those who don't know what that is, Blacklist Soldier Envoy Beacon. That card is just a ridiculous card by itself.
Oh, God,
There was a reason why Konami banned that card before Yu-Gi-Oh! Even became official. It can be splashed in any deck as long as it was Chaos variant or Light and Dark variant. It had 3,000 attack points, 25 defense.
Tax twice.
Or you can banish a monster. That's all. You can do one or two things depending on what you're up against.
It's just stupid now. I mean, they already reprint the card. Why don't they just get rid of it now?
Right, that card has been legal for 2 years almost exactly. They got all their money's worth, I think, but not just for money wise, for player wiseness. That card is a ridiculous card by itself. That card needs to be banned before it causes any more damage as it's done now.
Unless the old saying goes, you can't have too much money.
Well, that too, but keep in mind that card has done a lot of damage already in a short time. It needs to go now before it causes any more damage.
That ain't the only card that causes a lot of damage.
What's up?
1 Day of Peace.
That not as bad as BLS, but pretty close. Exodia decks, Final Countdown decks, Empty Jar decks, they have abused that card. It is just ridiculous. That card needs to be either limited or banned right now.
I've faced 2 of them. I only beat 1 Day of Peace once, and that was it.
I deal with that card at least once a week whenever I go on Dueling Network. That card is just way too ridiculous.
And it's freaking boring.
Okay, true. You get to draw a card, and you're immune to taking damage as well. That's cool. But keep in mind what deck your opponent may be running if your opponent runs that card with that particular type of deck.
Yes, I mean, but Konami's not going to get that much money anyway. It's a common.
They're not even going to get a cent out of that card.
Yeah, it's just not really that worth it.
Right, dude. So I think Konami, so BLS needs to be banned. Day of Peace needs to be either limited or banned. And let's talk about since we're talking about, alright, now let's talk about cards that usually fall in certain decks that need to be banned or limited or anything like such as well. Let's get Let's get windups out of the way first. True, what Konami did with Carrier, whatever his name is, was a really good call. I have to admit there. But keep in mind, it didn't really slow them down that much. The only loop you took away from them was the Hunter loop. Other than that, they still got at least 3, if not 4 loops up their sleeves or not. True, they got some other cards that would really help them out, like Rat and Wind Up Factory. Those cards are kind of ridiculous themselves.
True.
However, I would forgive Konami for not doing anything to those cards if they at least limit Magician.
Yeah, just like limit Magician. I'm not saying it's worth banning. It's not really worth it.
Right.
You just limit it at least.
Right. At least, even if they still have Wind Up Factory and Wind Up Rat, it would still slow the deck a lot bit as long as they get rid of the Magician at least. That card they can just go, every time they use Magician, they just go, use Magician's effect, overlay him, send him to the graveyard, you detach him, bring him back, effect, again.
Yeah. The one other deck needs to slow down is the Atlanteans.
Right. We don't have too much info about them or but we do know that they do have a lot of effects that fall similar to Fables and Dark Roads almost. They're kind of like Fables on crack. In fact, they're the reason why Bryonak is banned in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, I'm one for decks that can be top-tiered, but not right off the bat. I mean, they only started out in a structure deck, and already they're top-tiered.
They're already almost worse than Six Sams and Chaos Dragons.
Yeah, I mean, Konami made a really big mistake making the deck too good, too top-tiered.
Right.
they should have like started off with structure decks that are at least balanced and okay.
Right. At least only half those broken Atlanteans should be in a deck, while the other broken Atlanteans should be in the packs, whatever.
Yeah.
But either way, people with money, they're going to get their hands on those Atlanteans anyways.
Yeah, but they really need to slow them down.
They need to slow them down. Especially the fact that they can just get to just about any synchro monster and just about any Xyz monster without even trying.
Yeah, and of course they can add some couple of mermails to it.
They can use mermails. Why do you think that people call those decks mermail Atlanteans? Those decks are kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
Dark World. Let's talk about that.
Oh yeah, Grapha needs to go on the list.
Right. I mean, everything else, but let's talk about the entire deck before we go on to Grapha first.
True.
Silva, Gold, they're fine.
Yeah.
Bo, Snow. Bo, the draw guy, he's not bad.
Yeah.
Dark Worlds do need drawing, and Bo does add a draw power thing. Snow, she is kind of broken. The fact that when you discard her, I discard her, I add any Dark World card from my deck to my hand. And Gates, that's kind of messed up too.
True.
I mean, not only it speeds up what you're doing, but it gives all your Dark Worlds 300 attack and defense points, which is kind of ridiculous right there as well.
Yeah, I'll give them that.
Yeah. However, just like the wind-up thing we were talking about, I will forgive Konami for leaving Snow and Bo and Gates alone if they at least limit Grapha.
Yeah.
Like Zelda was trying to talk about earlier.
Yeah, Grapha is just too good. I mean, somehow he surpassed that imprisoning mirror.
Right. There's a rule. Accordingly, there's a ruling where Grapha can still special summon himself with his own effect, even with you or your opponent having Shadow imprisoning mirror on the field.
I just don't get it. It makes me go crazy. There are so many things that can drive me crazy, and that's one of them.
Right. The reason why Rescue Rabbit and Stardust Dragons can surpass Skill Drain, they actually explain why. And the reason is they get rid of themselves at the cost in order to go off with their effects. Grapha, your only cost to use his Bring Back effect is return a Dark World that you have in your field back to your hand. Whereas the effect that falls, Grapha bring himself off from the grave or anything. That does not surpass Shadow Imprisoning Mirror. That's not what Rescue Rabbit or Stardust can do, or Thunder King can do against Skill Drain or anything as such.
Yeah.
So we do think that Grapha should be limited.
Another card should be limited that has to do with Dark World. Well, not entirely has to do with Dark World, but Dark Worlds abuse it. Card destruction.
Card destruction, that too. That card needs to be banned because not only Dark Worlds abuse it, but Fables can use it. Not Atlanteans, because they require war monsters to go off with their effects. Fables are okay with card destruction. Dark Worlds, they abuse it though. Empty Jar, they kind of abuse card destruction. Exodia, they kind of abuse card destruction, but mostly it's Exodia decks that abuse card destruction.
Well, the thing is, I mean, Steven explained it all right there when he had the Dark Worlds play.
Right. Have a handful of Dark Worlds, play card destruction, ruin your opponent's hand, draw a fresh new hand, and depending on what you just discarded, you go off with a crazy amount of effects of Dark Worlds.
Yeah.
All at once.
Right. You can go over with 3, 4, 5 Dark Worlds.
Depending on what you had in your hand before you play card destruction. That's just nuts. Card destruction needs to be banned. And speaking of Dark Worlds, like what they abuse, Morphin Jar, he's okay. They should probably limit. I
was gonna say limit.
No, Morphin Jar is already limited.
Oh right.
Okay. They should limit the cards that Empty Jar abuse the cards with it. Morphin Jar, like Book of Eclipse, whatever.
Oh yeah.
But speaking of Dark Worlds, before we go off subject, we'll get back to Empty Jar a little bit. Let's go back to Dark Worlds real quick before we move on to Empty Jar. Dark Worlds, one more card that should be banned or limited that they use a lot. Grave Dug Down. What's that called? Grave Drug? Drag down in the grave. Yes. That card needs to be banned or limited.
Yeah, the advantage to see your opponent's hand.
I mean, even if you don't, and the fact that you see your opponent's hand, you make them discard a card, depending on what's in your hand and what you don't like in their hand, and the fact that depending on what you got in your hand, you can go off with a Dark World and still do some crazy shenanigans.
You can even do a combination with Dug Down to the Grave and Mind Crush. That's a good combination.
That is a good combination. Play Mind Crush, set Mind Crush face down, play Drag Down, during your end phase, play Mind Crush, make them discard more cards.
Yeah.
And depending on what they got in your hand, they can either end up handless or a little more cards in their hand.
Yep.
So Drag Down needs to be limited or banned. Now let's get back to Empty Jar, like I was trying to talk about earlier. What were you talking about? Morphin Jar. Yeah, Morphin Jar. he's not a bad card, but he can be broken at times. The fact that your opponent, it also makes your opponent discard 5 cards, or their entire hand, make them draw 5 as well, just as well as you. That does seem pretty bad. But there are ways to surpass Morphin Jar, unlike there is for card destruction. In order to stop card destruction, you have to be lucky and you have a certain face down, be ready to deal with card destruction once it activates. Morphin Jar, all you gotta do to stop it is have a skill drain, have monster effects that happen to negate. Pretty much just about pretty much any technical hand trap is a card.
Yeah.
However, Empty Jar does kind of use Morphin Jar, which is why it's called Empty Jar in the first place.
True.
I think rest of what Empty Jar has ain't so bad, minus the Morphin Jar Day of Peace. The only card all they got right there, besides those cards that need to be limited or banned, is the Book of Eclipse, like we were trying to talk about.
Book of Eclipse.
That card is kind of ridiculous. That card is somewhat worse than Book of Moon.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a combination. Like, you have crap loads of face down morphing, a Morphin Jar number 2.
Or Needleworms.
Two
Needleworms and a Morphin Jar.
Yeah, 2 Needleworms, a Morphin Jar.
And to just play Book of Eclipse, put them all face down, then during your end phase, they all go back face up. Your opponent draws 1 card for each monster that was put face out by Book of Eclipse, and then your opponent mills 10 cards, do their Needleworms, and then they discard their entire hand to draw 5 because of Morphin Jar.
Yeah.
That right there could pretty much deck you out right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright, okay, we're done with Empty Jar, we're done with Dark Worlds. Lanterns we already discussed. 6 Sams.
Oh yeah, 6 Sams.
Well, they're not so bad. They haven't really done that much of an impact, really. Despite that one guy winning that YCS with 6 Sams. Other than that, it was just one YCS top ever since the last Banlist.
True. They need to get rid of that gateway.
Right, that's gateway they gotta get rid of. I'll forgive Konami of not touching the rest of the 6 Sams. I don't think any of the 6 Sams do deserve to be hit, or any of the 6 Sam cards, except for Gateway. That card by itself is kind of ridiculous. Just go balls out with your 6 Sams, and as long as you get the card going, dude, by the end of your turn, you'll have like at least 4 6 Samurais onto your field. There's even a combo where you can put your opponent on a lockdown in just 1 turn. Play Gateways, normal Summon Kageki, use his effect, special Summon Kakamushu, Synchro, Legendary 6 Samurai Shien, play Foolish Burial, send Great Shogun Shien to graveyard, use your effect of your Gate spell card, get rid of all signature counters, bring out Great Shogun Shien. Your opponent's immediately in a lockdown, no spells and traps.
Holy shit.
Am I the only one who thought about that? Foolish burying was 6 Sams, so they can bring out Shien Shogun and 6 Samurai Shogun Shien all in 1 turn, dude?
Shit.
What?
No, I mean, like, if they happen to be watching our video, they'll probably think of that combination just now. Well, unless they already happen to know that combination.
Or it would be funny if Gateway actually does become banned by the next ban. Then who's laughing?
Yeah, who gets last laugh now?
Alright. Gateway is the only card of the 6 Sam series that does deserve to be hit. Everything else in 6 Sams is alright. Leave them alone. Okay, now let's talk. Okay, we're talking about a lot of stuff that does deserve to be hit and such, be limited, banned, all that such. Let's talk. Okay, one more card we should talk about before we move on to a different subject. One more card that needs to be hit. In my personal opinion, JD.
JD?
Judgment Dragon.
Oh, why should you be hit?
Well, keep in mind, look who's making an epic comeback. Answer, Light Sworns, or Twilight deck. Even Chaos Dragons can use JD. All you need is just splashing 4 random Light Sworns. JD, right there.
True.
So many Twilight versions of Chaos Dragons have topped because of this version right here. It's just so ridiculous, dude. And plus with Light Sworns making an epic comeback, and with these new Light support cards coming up, I think it may be a good idea that JD becomes Limited 2 or Limited 1, dude. Because that card by itself is so retardedly ridiculous of what he can do by himself.
Yeah.
Oh wait, one more card. Maybe Master Hyperion, put him to 2. He's kind of a dark arm for the agent sense.
Yeah, I get. Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Put Master Hyperion to 2, and that's about it. Now let's actually talk about who deserves to be unbanned, or move up to 1 or 2 too.
I'm not really too sure who should be unbanned, I guess.
I don't think Goyo Gura should ever become
No.
No. Brianak, maybe, as long as they take care of some of the Atlanteans. Trishula, maybe the same thing. Goyo, no. Goyo is just one of those level 6 synchro monsters that can be splashed in any synchro deck as long as it can bring out that synchro monster.
Hey, do you remember the time when someone at our locals said they should bring back Goyo Guardian?
Oh my god, I immediately slapped that person right in the face for thinking about it up.
I mean, I couldn't believe it either. Someone actually said, bring back Goyo.
Wow.
I mean, so many decks. Even my deck could use it.
Yeah, your prophecy deck could probably use it. Phaler and that one girl who could move herself to level 5, Synchro Goyo.
Yeah, or, I'm not sure about Gustos. They could reach that level.
They can go. Gustos will abuse the fuck out of that card.
Yeah, the
Fables will abuse the fuck out of that card too.
True.
Okay, we're done with Goyo. Rise Stars of Metal Dragon. I think that card should move up from 1 to 2. I can understand why it got limited 1 at that one point, because there's that big epic fear of Gustav Max. I gotta give Konami that. But at the same time, it's the Dragons haven't really done that many impact to Yu-Gi-Oh! Now. They've only won 1 regional and 1 YCS ever since. So I think it's time that the Dragons get back their Red Men back.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta agree with Christian here. I mean, Red Ice hasn't done that much. I mean, I know...
Well, he did do a lot of damage before the recent Banlist, yes.
Yeah, but the thing is, not much people are using Gustav Max anyway.
No one's even, except for Heretics, but even Heretics barely even get to Gustav Max ever since Darkness Metal Dragon went to 1. Yes, there's a way to do it so as long as you have Darkness Metal Tragudia, but how often do you see that get pulled off?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen your deck. You don't really use the Tragudia that much.
I do use
I mean, like, at least...
I don't usually have Darkness Metal and Tragudia all at the same time.
Yeah, basically that.
Right.
I see you have Tragudia, but not at the same time with Red Eyes.
Even when Darkness Metal Dragon was at 3, I still could not get a Tragudia and at least 1 Red Man field all together.
Yeah, so it's not even possible.
Well, it's possible. It's just really hard.
Yeah. I mean, even if they did have Gustav Max, what do you think of the odds of someone having a Gustav Max and a, Tragudia at the same time?
Right.
So they really need to bring back Red Eyes. At least at 2, at least.
Yeah, 2 would be a good number. I think 2 would be fine. 3 would be overpowering for Dragons, so 2 would be just fine for Dragons.
Yeah, it limit the effects,
and it would just like what they did with Glad Beast. The Dragon players may still be somewhat cautious with how they play their Darkest Metal Dragon.
Yeah.
Now let's get back to now. Who else should be back? Mizuki for zombies. As a zombie fan, I think Mizuki should be back at 2. 3, I can understand why not. Leave Plex Spreader alone. He's good where he's at. I'll agree to that. But with zombies not making as much impact as they are now, I think it's time. I think it's about freaking time that they bring Mizuki back to 2 per deck now.
I think they should try to make a new archetype for the zombies.
Like an archetype, like Heretics or Prophecies, for example.
Seems like that.
That'd be kind of cool.
I mean, so far, not in Yu-Gi-Oh history, they have now made 1 archetype. Well, vampires are not counting that. I mean, there's only like a couple of them.
It's not even an archetype. It's not like it doesn't have a clear specific archetype name like Heretics or Prophecies do.
True.
It's just a word, vampire. It's not like something special like Gladiator Bees, Dragoonies, Heretics, or anything like that such.
Yeah.
Right. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, Mizuki being back at 2. Yeah, so Mizuki should be back at 2, and I think it's time that we bring back the zombies and sectors. I can definitely give Konami a lot of credit of why they limited Dragonfly and Horn at the time.
Oh man, the Insector loop, that was crazy.
Right, have 3 Exceeds monsters all at once. It was almost as bad as dealing with wind-ups. Actually, it's somewhat worse if you think about it. At least wind-ups don't destroy you while you're doing your loop.
And true, and of course, like, remember on X Stevens' video where the guy played Max C, and of course the look on his face, that would even if you played Max C on Insectors, I bet they wouldn't have the same look on their face.
Unless they have Gores or Tragudia or something like that.
Yeah, unless they have Gores or Tragodia, they wouldn't have that same look on their face.
Right, they wouldn't even care if you draw anything. As long as you don't have Gores, Trag, Battlefield, whatever such, you're gonna lose.
Yeah.
Right. But however, back to the subject, I can really understand why Dragonfly and Hornet got limited, because there were a lot of shenanigans people could do with them. But right now, I mean, and true, yes, they did win that 1 YCS not too long ago. There was a guy who talked with the YCS with the Light Sworn Insector deck. But keep in mind, the guy admitted that the Light Sworn did most of the work of the destruction part. Other than that, the Insectors, not the Insectors aren't good or bad now. It's just right now what I'm trying to get at here is, I think it's time that Insectors get at least something back. Like, give him back at least one Dragonfly. Don't give him back the Hornet, because they will abuse the fuck out of that Hornet.
God,
They will abuse the motherfucking fuck out of that Hornet.
I mean, seriously, the Hornet's crazy.
Pop a card. Bring back Dragonflies back. Get Centipede. Pop a card. 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 But Hornet should stay what it is. However, I do agree with Dragonfly. I think Dragonfly should come back to 2 per deck because there are a lot of people are discovering ways to take out Insectors now. So as long as they keep Hornet limited, I think Konami can be okay with bringing back Dragonfly back to 2.
Yeah.
All right. So we talked about Insectors. Blah blah blah. All right. What else should we talk about?
What else should come back to the list?
Right. Yeah, we were talking about what else should come back to the list. We talked about Insectors. We talked about zombies. Dark Worlds. We already said how bad Dark Worlds are right now at the moment.
What about you mentioned something about Giant Trunade once?
Giant Trunade. Oh yeah, that card. Oh yeah, Giant Trunade. That card.
I was gonna say barrel like.
If they bring back Giant Trunade, they should ban Heavy Storm. At least Heavy Storm, it's one of those cards where you can get away without going for OTK. Because once you play Heavy Storm, as long as your opponent does not negate it, all the cards are gonna be gone. Trunade, it's one of those cards where once you play it, you either have to go for game or go for making a set of a field where your opponent can't play. If you play Giant Trunade and nothing happens, you're pretty much setting yourself up for being a lose. So maybe Trunade could, and plus another good reason why Trunade should come back. Keep in mind, one of the reasons it was banned was because of Future Fusion, whatever.
True.
And some premature burial. So as long as they do not bring back Future Fusion and premature burial, we can have Giant Trunade back as long as we ban Heavy Storm first.
Yeah, and of course, it could be a good thing. I may hate to admit this, believe it or not, that could Giant Trunade can surpass the Grand Spellbook Tower because remember,
it only goes off with Destroy, not anything as such.
Yes.
Why didn't you even bring that up? Everyone always knows about that.
I know. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
I couldn't resist saying that.
Well, just in case our broskies don't know that.
True.
I mean, just give them a good reason why they should believe that Giant Trunade should come back.
You think MST should be down to 2 at least?
Well, I'm not saying it should be.
Right. It hasn't really done that much impact.
I mean, true, it's a quick play and it destroys but it only destroys one spell or trap. And
right,
that's it.
And there is no card, and there is no cause technically other than losing it after you play the graveyard or such.
Yeah, it's not really that much.
Right. It's I don't know. I guess it's okay as long as they don't limit MST. That would be kind of dumb. If they if they either leave MST alone or semi-limit MST, that would be okay, I guess.
Yeah.
And I guess that's all of us really to talk about. Other than a few cards to talk about. Get back to ban subject or limit subject, whatever. I think it's Skill Drain, Macrocosmos, Dimensional Prison, and Necro Valley. All those and World Tribute. All those cards should be either limited or banned.
Oh my god, World Tribute. So, I mean, World Tribute can go almost in any deck.
Well,
almost.
Well, Gravekeeper base.
Basically, yeah, or unless you're going to add any random Gravekeeper just to use it.
Well, if I recall, you need Necro Valley in order to play it, if I recall. So actually, you don't even need to play in Gravekeepers. You just need to put it in a that uses Necro Valley, like Malefics.
Yeah, I was going to say Malefics.
Yeah, Malefics could probably use that card as long as you have Necro Valley. And what do they run? Necro Valley, along with Steel Forward Calculus, of course, and that Gear Town, whatever that card is called.
Well, they don't really care about the field spell. As long as they have a field spell, they just play anything.
Right. Well, not everything. As long as they can use their Malefics.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, okay. World Tribute needs to be limited or banned. Necro Valley needs to be limited or banned. I'm sorry, Gravekeeper players.
Yeah,
I just had to say this. I'm not just saying this. I'm not just saying they hate on you guys. It's not just you guys' fault why Necro Valley should be banned. It's the decks. It's the fact that Necro Valley can be splashed in certain decks that's either Gravekeeper based, Necro Valley based, or even Graveyard hate decks. It can even be used in an anti-meta deck, believe it or not.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's not called anti-meta for nothing. Anti-meta is going against whatever is the meta, which is graveyard-based, pretty much. And what does Necro Valley do? Stop you from using your graveyard-based cards. So Necro Valley needs to be eliminated, along with Skill Drain, because that is an overpowering card by itself. Macrocosmos, same thing. That needs to be limited, because it banishes everything. And so does Dimensional Prison. All those cards need to be no, Dimensional Fissure, excuse me. Dimensional Fissure needs to be limited or banned.
Yeah.
Right. And is that all we have to talk about?
I got nothing, to be honest with you.
Alright, I guess we covered just about everything. The only really thing I can really say, the only prediction is, actually, I think that's all we got. That's all we know. If you guys have any interesting thoughts or ideas or what else you guys want us to talk about for the Banlist, whatever, tell us in the comment section down. I like that. Comment section down below, and we will see if we can do a better video response with that as fast as we can. And yeah, that's all we gotta say, guys. That's our prediction. Nothing is official. This was not to go against any decks in particular.
No.
This was just our thoughts and our opinions, at least.
Yeah.
At least. And Konami's obviously not gonna listen to us.
Yeah, and of course, it's other people's opinions as well. We watch other people's opinion on their videos.
Right. They have the similar thoughts as we do.
Yeah, and gotta give them agree there.
Right. Not exactly the same thoughts, but
No.
similar thoughts.
Yeah, just similar thoughts.
Right. And yeah, that's all we gotta say, guys. And we're out here. We're gonna go upload this crap. We gotta go. We're gonna get some chicken wings. We're gonna go beat up some snowmen. And yeah, we're gonna see you guys around.
And we'll play some cards. We're the Trading Card Bros.
All right, we're out here, guys.
See ya.
Bye.
Bitch.